there's only one thing that we can control. We cannot control the virus. We cannot control people who are negative. We cannot control the negastars and negatrons in our life. But one thing that we can control is the thought that is running through our mind. It's about choices Parang, paano gagawin mo? Diba? Will you be the spectator who will just sit down there and just watch the game unfold? Or will you be the one, the player, who will play the game and win the game of life for you?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of our podcast entitled Loop Me In. This is Jules Rodriguez, and our goal is to create a platform for job openings and opportunities for our listeners out there. Also, we will invite corporate executives, CEOs, freelancers who will share their stories, insight knowledge on various topics, and we hope that all the things that you will learn from our guests will inspire you to rise through the ranks of your respective industry. This is the podcast for job seekers, young millennials in the workforce, for the go-getters and the visionaries. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, YouTube, and Facebook. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. COVID-19 is not just a pandemic. It's a global crisis affecting us in the different aspects of our lives. The spread of the COVID-19 virus led to the enforcement of the enhanced community quarantine in Luzon, affecting our mobility, our time with our family and friends, and our social lives. The spread of the virus also created a sudden shift in the employment landscape. Project-based, freelancers, even the regular employees are experiencing tough times. So, different companies realized different challenges across all the industries: tourism, manufacturing, education, and financial services. Even the healthcare sector, which is considered to be the thriving sector at this point, is also experiencing their own challenges. Strict implementation of quarantine protocols, social distancing, among others. So with the COVID-19 pandemic, the term job security turned out to be a thing of the past, and company owners who worked hard trying to leave the rat race are suddenly in a very challenging track meet. But the whole world is wired to evolve. Animals adapt due to the changes in nature, and humans also adapt due to the changes in surroundings, and the workforce continues to adapt based on the challenges in our economic landscape. To shed more light on this situation that we are experiencing right now, here in our first episode today, we have the CEO of Vcargo Worldwide. He also wrote several books about entrepreneurship and leadership, and he's also one of the most sought-after motivational speakers in the country. He will also share some of the high insights on how businesses should adapt and who are greatly affected in this COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looping in Mr. Paulo Tibig. How are you, Paulo? We're so happy to have you on the show today.
Hello, Jules. Hello, everyone. It's it's an honor to be with Loop In. To begin with, it's an pilot episode, tama, di ba?
Yeah, special.
So happy to be with you guys, and I hope that everyone is well and good. And we also, I'm sure everyone prays that everything will be getting back to normalcy. So good to be with you with this session. And I hope that this session, this pilot session, you can get a lot of insights and so on for your freelancing job, for your negocios, and basically for your corporate function as well.
I wanted to ask you, there are people out there right now who are in a situation where they do need information for the survival of their career or to how to broaden their streams of income as well. But yun nga, the best way to be able to teach these kinds of lessons is really through stories. That's why we're so happy to have you here on the show, because we also want to know your story, Paulo, and how you actually started all the way until to where you are now running your company.
Siguro, Jules, ganito, no? Just a snippet of things on how we were able to come up with these parang ventures. I'm a typical child of an OCW before, overseas contract worker, OFW ngayon. And yung mother ko is a public high school teacher. So basically, we live an ordinary life, regular life in Balanga City. And parang we were taught and minulat kami kasi with entrepreneurial environment. Ibig sabihin, for the parang past 18 years that time, yung father ko after coming up, parang just with work doon sa abroad na 4 na taon lang tinagal, parang he decided to go back in the Philippines, and ang mantra niya kasi is to see us parang better with their values than earning the greener pasture doon sa labas. So yun ang nakita niya mas magiging parang he will be happy. And we were taught about the small negosyo. Kumbaga, he's a typical and serial entrepreneur. After coming from abroad, he went to selling ceramics. He went to selling siopaw, banana Q, and then yung mga personal household care, parang ganyan. He even, ano yun, tawag doon, tricycle. And lastly, he was able to parang have a small business wherein ito yung mga lubricants and oil parang sa mga sasakyan na retail. So alam niyo naman, di ba, we're typical sa share economy. So parang ganun magsimula, yung nakabote-bote lang, parang takal-takal o tingi-tingi lamang. So ganun nag-start yung entrepreneurial environment. Ibig sabihin, namulat kami, being the eldest of among the 4 siblings, parang syempre I have the obligation to help my parents, di ba? Literally wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning parang to help tend yung tindahan naming maliit na langisan, ang tawag nga dito noon, langisan. And basically it runs through parang Mondays to Sundays, walang holiday. At yun yung panahon na talagang parang you tend not to agree with your parents on parang me helping out or my siblings helping out in our family small business na yun. But you know, those things have really been parang yun yung talagang naging very good foundation. So ibig sabihin, parang namulat kami into negosyo at an early age. Kahit na maliliit na negosyo yun. Now, moving forward on college na, parang I did yung parang working student. I'm a typical working student. Parang 2 weeks after high school graduation, dinala ako ng mother ko dun sa isang parang ninong ko in Parañaque that owns a customs brokerage firm.
Oh,
so
okay.
Parang from first year to fourth year, I'm your typical working student wherein kunyari sa umaga, I go to the school, after lunch I go to parang work. So yung menial work, messengerial, alam yun, delivery boy, and so on, just to augment yung need for money to bankroll yung schooling, yung college schooling. Siguro I stayed with the company for 2 more years, 6 na taon, and then moved to other parang career. I went into parang medical representative, bolerong ano ba ang term namin noon, bolerong nagdadala ng gamot, diba?
Okay, good sales training though. I mean, that's where it really teaches you to talk, diba?
I've been assigned to a lot of areas. I'm sure maraming nakaka-relate sa akin ngayon, yung mga bolero nagtitinda ng gamot. Pag pinaganda mo, pag pinasosyal mo, medret. Yun. So,
I love it.
I was assigned to different areas in Metro Manila, in Luzon, and in other parts. Then I moved to another trabaho. Parang I landed a job in a financial institution, a multinational financial institution, as a marketing alalay, di ba? Marketing assistant, parang
nice.
Development and so on. So ibig sabihin, I'm a typical professional hopper ng mga panahon na yon. Ibig sabihin, I hop from one company to another, only to find out probably that I'm not into corporate world. So, with the background, pinabalik ako ng tatay ko sa probinsya. Parang, dito ka na muna. Baka nandito yung
yung gold nugget mo.
Yung ganyan, no? Tulungan mo na lang ako dito sa tindahan. Palakihin natin yung tindahan and so on. Kaya lang, typical aspirations, ang dami mong gusto mangyari sa buhay, gusto mong you do it on your own, etc. So there's a lot of clashes between me and my father. So parang hindi kami nagkakasundo. So what I did was to go back to Manila and get into some jobs, parang ganyan. Only to find out again that talagang hindi talaga pwede. That's where I started a simple laundry business 1999. Yon.
Wow.
So it
Okay.
was Juice, that time it was a Asian financial crisis. So ibig
Mm-hmm.
sabihin,
Yep.
parang parang ang daming problema, financial crisis, and
Mm-hmm.
then yun yung mga time na yun that sabi ko, hindi na talaga ako pang corporate. Nahihiya na akong umuwi ngayon ng probinsya kasi syempre, di ba, umalis ulit ako doon sa
Gets.
tindahan.
Tama.
So,
It's a
di
little
ba,
bit of
parang,
pride in there too, di ba?
oh yes, exactly. Di
Gets.
ba, ego, kainin natin yung ego, pero hindi
Oo.
Alam mo yun, as a maverick that back then, di ba,
Oo.
parang early stages of your life na talagang go, go, go driven ka. Ganyan.
Oo.
So I decided to come up with a very small business, that time a laundry business. And bakit laundry? I was able to spot that time sabi mga financial crisis, and then it was also the time that yung El
Okay.
Nino crisis, yung
Yeah.
tubig,
Yep.
tagulap.
Oo.
Now,
Tama.
imagine you everyone, why I'm getting into a business wherein kailangan ko ng tubig. And since El Nino, so ano ibig sabihin? I was able to spot a very good concept already. I'm getting into laundry business because people need it that time. Why? Tubig sa mga bahay eh. Parang ganon. So parang di ba timely na parang ipapasok ko itong negosyo. I have one parang maliit, isang what do you call this, washer and another dryer. So dalawa lang, isang makina lang. And good thing that we're in the University Belt area along Moraita, Quiapo, Recto area. So ibig sabihin, I'm into a very good market wherein unang-una kong market, yung mga taga-probinsya rin, yung mga estudyante, yung mga nakapaligid na nakatira sa mga dormitoryo doon and so on. Would you believe, Jules? I learned how to nagpa-plancha ako ng mga damit ng mga taga-CE, yung babae, mga taga La Concordia, mga taga San Sebastian at San Beda, and so on and stuff. But it gave us a very good entrepreneurial parang venture to begin with. Doon nagsimula. And if I need to move forward on that after that stint, 2 years with that, binenta na namin kaagad yung negosyo. I don't know anything about yet in franchising. I was not yet in the entrepreneurship community that time, and franchising that time is not yet that big in the Philippines. Kasi we've tried setting up another parang pick up and drop off point branch in the side of University Belt area ng UE, where yung tabi-tabing dormitoryo. The problem is we close it in just a week. Why?
Bakit?
Hindi namin kaya
Yung demand masyado mataas. Yes. Paano kayo nag-expand pala? Sorry. I mean, you started with one laundry machine. Paano ka nag-expand from one laundry machine?
Kasi nga, nakita namin malaki talaga yung the big yung potential of laundry business within the area. Parang that time, halos kami yung nag-put up doon sa area. This is in Bilibid Viejo kung saan tumatakbo ang mga snatcher doon. Nandun sa area na yon. And yung pinaka-nearest na siguro mga ilang kilometers pa along SH Loyola going to UST, yung nearest na parang laundry shop. So yung principle that I did back then was about you talk about crisis turns to cash. This is what we call a C2C or crisis turns to cash. Meaning to say, there was a crisis back then, di ba yun nga, El Nino, kulang ng tubig, and yet, why we're getting into negosyo wherein yung pinili, water. So meaning to say, di ba, kaching, parang ang inisip mo, wow, may negosyo dito. So that's how we go about it. That's where the entrepreneurial parang journey started. And moving on with that, parang there's opportunity again. My wife now, who used to be my girlfriend that time, syempre, yun. Parang she was in a brand management function in one multinational company in the country. And lagi siyang nagko-complain about merchandising materials o yung tinatawag na point of sales materials, yung POSM. Ito yung mga nakikita natin sa
Yep.
supermarket, yung mga parang support sa sales, wherein yung mga parang
The racks.
posters, racks,
Pag nasa shopping center ka na, pag nagbabayad ka na, may mga additional pa yan sa side, diba?
diba? Yung lalagyan ng produkto and so on, so on.
Yeah.
So, lagi siya nagko-complain that time. So, sabi ko nga, so many days, sabi ko, why not get into a business wherein we can, that your pain point, na pinpointed yung pain point na yan, can be a very good way to get into business venture out of that pain point. So what triggered me is that parang yung simple na natutunan ko noon nung nag-aaral ako, na habang nagtatrabaho ako ng working student, sabi ko, combining that little knowledge with your requirements, that time, she's into brand, sabi ko, maybe I can come up with a very good solution, service, that can really address that pain points. And that started yung Vcargo. That started Vcargo. So, ibig sabihin, taking the principle of that C2C, crisis turns to cash. So, ibig sabihin that time, trade marketing people, brand people, marketing managers, and so on, they have a problem ensuring that their merchandising materials, POSM, for the usual FMCG, has pare-parehong problema. How to ensure that all these materials are properly placed in all over, whether from tertiary accounts, kunyari key accounts, yung malalaking supermarkets down to palengke, parang ganyan. So sabi ko, why not come up with solutions addressing those needs? That's where, again, it started. Parang coming up with, parang not your usual freight company services. So we call that, I developed what we call as logistics marketing services. It's like a combination of logistics services with marketing services on it.
Beyond the logistics, question ko lang, beyond the logistics, what's the marketing side of this? How are you pushing it?
Well, una, kasi nga, di ba, she's into brand. Basically, ang nakita namin, whether in different companies, whether national company or multinational company, there will be POSM or merchandising materials as a support to the selling activities of the salespeople. So ano ibig sabihin? We assume that most parang brand people, marketing people has the same problem. True enough, yes. Ganun nga ang nangyari. Pero ibig sabihin, initially, alam na namin that we know exactly whom to tap in terms of serving this kind of parang service. Ang nangyari, the first in the industry, we pioneered what we call as logistics marketing services. Why? For probably with the most traditionally and seasoned parang freight company in the country, whether multinational or national, they will not dwell into it. Why? For them, it's gravy. Parang maliit kita dyan, matrabaho, maraming problema, maraming taong kailangan. So we capitalize on that. If these people doesn't want this, kunin natin
itong gravy. Sa atin na yun.
So we position ourselves, we develop parang services aligned with those needs. So ibig sabihin, like for example, just to name one, for example, POSM audit. Ano yung POSM audit? Ito yung, di ba, FMCG companies spend a lot of money, millions of pesos producing merchandising materials. And then, anong gagawin ng distributors? Itatapon lang, itatambak lang dyan sa bodega nila. So, ginawa namin, we've come up with that POSM audit solution. We made it as a free value adding to our brand managers, trade marketing parang market. So, ano nangyari? They will just give us a blanket authority. Parang ang nangyari, kami mag-audit doon sa warehouses ng distributor and try to see kung talaga yung mga POSM merchandising materials nila ginagamit o hindi. So, ibig sabihin, those value-adding service, that just one of the service that we have provided, and up to now, it's working. It's about 20 years ago, and up to now, it's working. So, ganun na nangyari. Sabi ko nga, if there's one thing that we can learn from this, it's about getting your parang yung pinpointing the pain points. And typically, like antenna, di ba, we need to up our antenna and then scan the environment. When you scan the environment, you'll be able to see, sana hindi nag-feedback tong audio natin ngayon, we'll be able to see opportunities along the way. So that's where the principle that I developed as C2C, crisis turns to cash. And look at this, Jules and everyone. Right now, I've done a lot of engagement during this lockdown. And this crisis alone, that C2C concept is working. Meaning to say, for those people who have seen crisis ngayon at nakatanga lang at nakaupo lamang at nagpataba lamang at kumain lamang walang ginawa para mabuhay, nasayang ang pagkakataon. Why? But for some people who have seen crisis, a very good way to get into opportunities. That principle will work. That people will earn a living, whether you're at home, whether you're doing business, where you're coming up with a new concept and so on, tweaking business model and so on. Iyon yung sinasabi ng principle.
That's what I like about your your kwento to us nga, na parang you had your character building experiences when you were younger, being able to look into the different types of businesses that you got into with your family as well. And then moving forward to Vcargo, this time it was like you took all the hits when you were younger, you took all the lessons, all the failures nung bata ka pa, tapos later on, ginawa mo, dito ako nagkamali, dito ko nababawiin. I wanted to ask you, sorry, just along that line nga, parang, do you feel like that you being locked in at home right now, you can still be as productive as you were when you were not locked in at home? That's what people want to know. Like, sa kanila, there's always an excuse, there's always something, but is it possible to be as efficient?
Exactly, yes. Yes na yes. Okay, yung sinasabi kong model kanina, I laid down yung sa mental aspect. And one of those, yung pagiging yung mindset ng work mode. Meaning to say, work mode mindset. How do you do that, everyone? For example, sa bahay natin, we need to parang do yung, if you're coming to office, kunyari lang 9 to 6 or 8 to 5. Exactly. Now, ano ibig sabihin? You have to have that habit to do it regularly. Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 5 or 9 to 6. What are the things that you can do? Very simple tips. In your area, sa bahay, whether maliit ang bahay mo, malaki bahay mo, humanap ka ng lugar na parang magiging workstation mo. Nandun ang gamit mo, nandun ang lahat ng gadgets mo kailangan para sa pagtatrabaho. So, ano ibig sabihin? You do yung regular routine mo. Ibig sabihin, if you wake up at 7, if you wake up at 6, whether maligo ka ngayon hindi, walang problema yon. Magbihis ka, but pagdating ng 8 o'clock, kung magtatrabaho ka, 9 o'clock magtatrabaho ka, once nandun ka na sa area mo, then you start working. Kasi meetings, working, etc., emails and so on, all those stuff, kaya mo nang gawin. Pagdating ng 10 o'clock, kung may break time ka, mag-break ka. 10 to 15, 10 to 20, go on. Pagdating ng 12, mag-break ka. 12 to 1, huwag ka namang 2 o'clock na, nanonood ka pa ng 8 talaga. Kung ano pa pinapanood mo doon sa Netflix mo, nakahiga ka na sa kama mo. Pagdating ng alauna 30, di ba? Yun pala, naghihilig ka na, hindi ka na lang.
Guilty minsan, guilty.
So dapat babalik ka na ulit and then work mode mindset again. Then if it's 3 o'clock, meron kang yosi break or wee break, go on, walang problema. By 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you end your work for the day, and that means the things that you need to do for the rest of the day, dapat nagawa mo, and so on and so on. So meaning to say, these are just simple ways to be ethical in your working from home. Alam naman natin at the end of the day, sabi ko nga, ngayon wala tayong lalong lusot eh. Why? Even in our mobile phone, we can be called and we can do meetings. So ano ibig sabihin? The key still here is about getting the shift of mindset. Diba? Yung mental and the attitude natin towards our work, we can still do and work on things based on our delivery.
I know that you already explained to us from your perspective what you're seeing this COVID-19 pandemic is doing to our community, especially here in the Philippines. Like what you said, it's from crisis to cash. So that's, I think, the mindset that a lot of Pinoys are actually trying to adapt right now. So, Paulo, I do want to ask you about three different industries right now, and I want to be able to share with our audience your perspective on these. So, we'll start with hospitality, we'll move on to tourism and food. One of the industries that was badly hit was the hospitality industry. Even Airbnb, the app that revolutionized the hospitality industry, was forced to lay off 25% of their employees. So, as a CEO, that's not exactly the dream scenario. But can you give us your thoughts on how a business like this has to make these difficult decisions and have these difficult conversations with their people? What would you say was the root of this type of decision for a company as huge as Airbnb?
Well, yun nga, no, as an employer also, we're on the brink of parang decision that need to be made, whether it's sabihin na natin, whether it's the most critical and most important things that we need to do and to need to to decide. Decision making at this point is a very good way to test also through leadership. That's one. Especially at this point, we're in a crisis mode, and basically, I could relate and easily relate to the employers. You know, sabi mo nga, I think hindi na moving with in the country alone. There are thousands already who have closed shop already. That's too unfortunate for our Philippine economy. And then based on the news, parang di ba we're seeing about more than 7 million that have lost their job. As an employer, if I may say this, we're also in a quandary. If I may say personally, in our company also, we're also in a quandary on how to address the situation and how to develop ways and means to ensure that our people are still there and have still work to begin with. So ibig sabihin, parang ano ang mga pwedeng gawin? Again, as a CEO of my logistics company, first, during the lockdown, we've been already talking about things on how to ensure that our people will be employed, whether it's in GCQ or and beyond. Now, for most companies, the decision will rely on basically on the business development and the sales of the company. Siyempre, that's the lifeblood. Eh. Uh, if I may say, kunyari with Airbnb, I can easily relate dun sa decision that they had made. Why? You talk about survival. You talk about how to keep your business afloat during this kind of things. Una, can you handle economically, financially? That's one of the drawback dun eh. Parang yun yung unang-unang linya eh. Yun yung first line ng decision making factors for employers. That's one. Can we still bleed? Can we find stimulus packages, financial assistance, or in Filipino terms, ayuda to ensure that our people are there? Di ba? Parang ganyan. So, if not, siguro in the short term, pwede mong magawa yun. Pero how about in the long term? So, you need to strategize on certain parang business operation. Example, one, uh, kung ang operations mo to ensure that you still have work for others, maybe a rotational team concept will work. Meaning to say, okay, sige ganito. Kung 100 ang empleyado natin, for example, Airbnb, alam naman natin, sobrang laki niya. Kunyari lang, isang company, medium-sized company, 100 people. If you wanted to employ 100 people at this point, probably hindi kaya. Whether it's work from home, on-site yan, or in the field yan. So what you can do, talk to your team, talk to your key executives, and let's map out on how to ensure that they still have parang kahit na 1 week lamang o 2 weeks in a month. So mangyayari yan, you can do batching. Kunyari, batch 1 will go in the office or will work for 2 weeks. Batch 2 will
Yes.
2 weeks. Batch 3 will have this and that. So
Mm-mm.
that's one
Yeah.
strategy. So rotational ang way. Now, ito din yung maganda. On the upside for manpower pooling and human resource way, it's also a way to eliminate the bad eggs in your companies. Why? Maybe kung merong last straw, these people who are parang alam mo na pwede mo talagang bitawan, uh, by all means, they will be the last batches to do. So meaning to say, you retain all the talent that you have that is working really well, that are performing well, that are productive, that are efficient, and have a very good attitude. Parang ganun. So dapat nandun siya, rotational. Pangalawa, in the international scene and in the local scene, wage cut is a way to also do things. Ibig sabihin, kung ang mga executives, kunyari, supervisory up, are willing, syempre, dapat you have to consider labor issues and so on. Parang lahat ng decision are made towards labor. You do cuts para somehow yung mga pwedeng ilang tao na mag-provide mo pa rin ng trabaho at meron pa rin trabaho, they will still be there. Di ba?
Mhm.
So that's two, wage cuts. Pangatlo, you can really operate on a percentage level lamang. Meaning to say, to decide well, parang if you think that this particular parang key component of your parang core business is working, then go on. And then allot certain people on that. What you need to do, probably you come up with another division, you need to come up with a new business model wherein you can utilize the existing resources, particularly tao. So meaning to say, you can still give them work. Di ba? Lalo na ngayon, what's the in thing? For example, di ba, with Airbnb, with so many industries, pwedeng hindi pa rin mawalan ng trabaho eh. Di ba? Parang ganyan. So, ibig sabihin, you need to adapt what is happening to ensure that these people are somehow, if you can still employ them, employ them. But if not, worst scenario thing, you really have to cut down. It's either you lose the business in itself, you close down, or, di ba, really take that bitter pill to swallow, you really have to let go of people. Now, when you let go of people, make sure lamang that they have something to start with. Maybe it's a blessing for others that parang it's my time now to get into probably freelancing. It's my time now to get probably into business. It's my time now to get into agriculture. It's my time now to be self-employed and so on. At the end of the day, any employee needs to be creative. Remember, di ba, parang when you're pushed against the wall, you will be thinking of ways to ensure that you will be surviving as well.
Yep.
So, as a business owner also, ang hirap magtanggal ng tao, lalo na kung hindi just cause. Alam mo, kung barumbado ang isang empleyado, by all means, get them out. And I terminate also people. I terminate managers. But at this point, parang, syempre, remember, these people are not emotionless machine. And they're human. In fact, the uncertainty that is happening right now, the fear in every employee right now, napakataas. Kaya nga, di ba, parang how do we help them out? So sabi ko nga, if, for example, in my case, if we're going to really terminate people, we have to ensure that they will have something to start with. Whether I'll be helping them out to start their initial negosyo, or probably I can do parang get them into parang organization companies that really need help. Parang ganon. On the other hand naman, it's also a way to screen very good people at this point. Sabi ko nga, ito rin yung way for companies to hire at this point. Why? You have a very good pool of people now in the midst of recruitment wherein you can really pick people.
Handpick.
Oo, pwede i-handpick ngayon. Pwede kang mamili ngayon. Kasi ang laki ng parang ng pool. So, so for me personally, it's heartbreaking to do and decide such that Airbnb and other companies have done. But the just thing to do in order for us to keep afloat, to keep alive, the business to be alive. Probably at the end of the day, parang after recovering on so many fronts, maybe soon, maybe just months or probably in the nearest future, you can probably take again these people to be with you. Sana ganun nga mangyari.
I want to know from your perspective, ano yung mga information na nakuha mo na in the industry of food, for example? Ano yung nakikita mong possible trends or things that companies are doing to actually stay afloat during this pandemic? And what are the core principles or the principles na nakikita mong na ina-apply ng tinuturo mo rin with these people who you're adapting?
Wait, sa food kasi, di ba, they are badly hit to begin with. The sector, while we see that parang supposedly sila talaga yung hindi nawala. Di ba? So, ano ibig sabihin? There an upside and a downside. Downside for those who have that brick and mortar thing. Meaning to say, those that have physical store, those that have cart businesses in the mall, those that have physical structure in the mall, standalone thing outside of the mall, and so on. Sila talaga yung hardest hit. In fact, we have seen even the biggest name in the food industry, the biggest chain in the country, have really siguro if I may say kasi meron akong talagang first hand because we're serving some of the major food chain in the country right now, and they're just operating probably 20 to 30%. In fact, ang mga mall chain nila hindi binubuksan. Kasi nga, parang it defeats the purpose wherein mas malaki yung magiging OPEX. Siyempre, once you open up store, OPEX now comes in. And basically, the sales that you have with the business development that you have, hindi ganun magiging takot pa rin ang tao to begin with. So that's the downside. Now, what's the upside on this? Diba? Parang, if these companies may not regain initially in the next few months yung losses nila and cannot recover that, diba, you have to do things already. That's where adaptability comes in. That's where innovation comes in. That's where, for example, I've mentioned earlier, look at the other business model. What business model will work with your product or whether it's food or other materials on that matter, whether you're in retail and so on. Now, ano ibig sabihin? Use the platform of e-commerce. Basically, e-commerce thing na ang pag-uusapan dito eh.
Tama.
How do you develop? How do you maximize? How do you optimize the platform? There's so many platforms at this point. Hindi mo na kailangan mag-develop. Ngayon nga, ang dami ng pwedeng mga app developer, etc. na murang-mura na nga eh. Parang ganyan. Now, if you're starting out, if you're in the big business already, nasa big league ka na, how do you maximize the e-commerce platform? Meaning to say, you get to see potentials of, as mentioned earlier, DIY thing, do-it-yourself thing. That's one. Meaning to say, if I may set an example, merong isang ramen shop, very good ramen shop, mahal na ramen shop.
I was just gonna bring that up, the ramen, the DIY. Okay, sorry, please. That's exactly what was in my mind.
Kaibigan ko kasi yung the head honcho.
Okay.
And for so long, alam mo na pag pumasok ka doon sa tindahan nila, hindi pwede ang take-out.
Tama. Tama. Yep.
So recently, because of this thing, and now, they're now offering DIY thing. Ang maganda rito, on the upside, naging ang bibili mo, hindi na isa. Good for two. So, ibig sabihin, magbabayad ka ng halos 1,000 pang 2 tao, parang pang-3 order, 2 order. Correct.
So, may minimum na sila.
May minimum sila. Na dati, na to ensure that our quality is very good and well, we don't allow take-out. Now, all the things that you can do, frozen yan, i-reheat yan, take-out na kami. Parang curbside, di ba? Parang pick up. Wow, ang bilis. Parang nakapack na siya. Kompleto ang packaging. Eto na. Hindi ka na maghihintay na dating ramen na hinihintay mo. Ngayon, in just 5 minutes, order ka, eto na, bayad ka, tapos na. So that's one example of the DIY thing. Meaning to say, sooner or later, probably, food businesses will close their shops. And that's one of the things that can happen. And it's now happening. So ano ibig sabihin? at the horizon at this point, while you will not have probably the sales, the sales budget that you have previously, but then again, you will survive now because of the DIY thing. You lessen your operational expenses, you move into probably commissary na lang, tapos siguro major parang physical store ka na lang na brick and mortar, and mind you, you get probably biggest business at this point. Why? Take the route of e-commerce, you take the route of online delivery, you take all these platform. So ibig sabihin, while we can see potential losses, and probably yun nga pati tao tatamaan dito. So anong gagawin mo sa tao ngayon? Give them lifeboats. Probably you come up, yung sinasabi ko kanina, probably you come up with another company, delivery riding company, wherein sila ngayon ang magiging rider mo, sila ngayon magdi-deliver, hindi ka magtatap ng isang delivery company, sila ngayon na matinagal mong tao magkakaroon ng trabaho. Babae mo lalaki yan, they still have work. Diba? And so on.
Less headaches.
Less headaches, less OPEX, higher probability of more parang bottom figures na profit. Yun ang nakikita ko dito eh. So why?
That's really good.
Na lang eh.
That's really
and then
good.
heavy marketing on online. And use social media, pour your money, invest your money in working on a very good IG on social media content, value adding, etc. etc. So products in itself can be expanded. Di ba? Probably on
That's
the movies na meron ka dun sa tindahan mo, now everything else can be what? Can turn into a frozen type DIY kit thing. And ang maganda dito, bulk ordering na siya. Ibig sabihin pang maramihan. Now, ito yung mga ibang type of industry. What about other industry? Food pa rin siya. For example, if you're in the food cart business, what do you do? Milk tea, for example. Alam natin na milk tea is really, it's high-flying, really selling like hotcake ang milk tea. So how do you...
You mean necessary goods for some people?
That's good for other people. That's also bad for other people. But on the ganito na lang, on the business perspective na lang tayo. I know again a lot of people who's into it. I know the biggest name in the country and so on. Now, anong sinasabi natin? Pivot ka rin. O DIY kit na lang. Yung parang order ako sa'yo pang 1 kilo na. Parang kami na sa bahay ang magtitimpla, kami na ang maggagatas, etc. etc. Those things. Or get out of mall and then put stores where the secondary, for example, market is in. Example, you get into cities na dating halos wala namang milking malalaki dyan. So, ibig sabihin, nasa labas ka ng mall. Kasi pag nasa labas ng mall, higher probability that you can still continue. In fact, during the lockdown, ECQ, we can see others, milk tea shop that are open. And until now, and they're selling. So, ibig sabihin, it really depends on the business model that you have. Meaning to say, it's how you do your creative thinking, it's how you innovate, it's how you adapt, and just work on with your team to ensure that your food concept, food business is really adapting to the new normal. Ang daming pwede. I've shared a lot of things on the food sector. And mind you, parang sabi ko nga, lahat yata naging culinary expert, lahat yata naging baker. Pero at the end of the day, it also gives, for example, if you're a freelancer, if you're a housewife, if you're working, and now you see that meron pa lang yung skills at talent mo can now earn money for you, relatedly, food. So ibig sabihin, there's an upside, may downside din siya. There's win, there's losses in food, but definitely ang biggest threat talaga for those who are really the big ticket enterprises in food. But that's the good thing about the small businesses. They can really pivot well. The hierarchy, the level of thinking, the level of decision making, far more, mas less mas madali. Protocol are mas less, and then you can really adapt na pinakamabilis na pwede mong gawin. So I hope that food business for one. Sabi ko nga, if your restaurant right now, for example, cannot really do well, then probably you get into manufacturing. You get into kasi di ba ang mindset ng Pinoy, we're more consumer driven. So in other countries, di ba parang manufacturing driven, producing driven kasi. So ano yung sabihin? Maybe in the food sector, if you're in the food sector, this is the way to see whether to produce now. Ibig sabihin, what you need to do. If you're investing 10 million, 20 million, medyo big ticket to in one store, maybe it's one equipment makina already, put dun sa planta mo, put sa commissary mo, and now you're producing more products based on your menu list than selling it in your restaurant. Di ba? Yun dapat ang thinking eh.
Tama.
Mapalitan natin yung consumer driven mindset into a producing mindset. Ganun dapat siya. So ang daming pwede. So ibig sabihin, hindi ka dapat talaga mawala ng pag-asa na tinamaan ng food ko, anong pwede kong gawin? If you're into, kunyari, tempura, if you're in shawarma, if you were in lechon manok, and so on, those stuff, there's so many things. I can do frozen foods right now. I can produce parang nakakanda siya, nakasashay na siya. Yesterday, just last night, one of my audience na mentor in so many engagement, they're into big business. In fact, she is into derma clinics and so on. Alam mo ang pivot ngayon? She wanted to come up with a food type of business, sachet type na. So parang opportunity is really something that is all around us. Ito wala sa food. What if nasa food ka na? Anong pwede, di ba? Kasi ang problema natin ngayon, like in other countries, kahit na mag-open ka, mag-dine-in ka, because of social distancing, if, for example, in food business, ang pinag-uusapan, especially for restaurant business, yung seating capacity. The more seats that you have, the better for you. Paano ngayon? Limited ka into 30 to 50%. So how do you do that? How do you compensate for that? So get outside. That's one. And then producing mindset. And then, yun ang tignan natin na. Tapos, DIY thing. And then, easy to cook. Parang RTE, ready to eat, ready to cook, RTC type of ways. And reselling, dealership, and using the e-commerce platform, using social media. I'm sure these companies, especially in the food, can always bounce back easily against other industries. Yeah.
I do wanna add something that you're saying na parang because this whole pandemic basically taught us na lahat ng mga channels natin natuyo. So even our personal lives, our friends natuyo. All the people that we wouldn't normally meet, we don't meet anymore, and the people that we really need to meet, that's who we meet. And the same way with businesses as well, natutuyo yung mga business. So yung mga essential and core na kailangan talaga sa business, yun yung nagsusurface. So to move nga into another industry, we'll touch up on the tourism industry and we can wrap up after that if that's okay. Because I feel like the tourism industry is also something that people are also looking into. And it's also heavily affected. Pilipinas tayo. We are a tourism country. So I want to know, ano yung nakita mo? Parang ano yung, what happened to the tourism industry in the Philippines?
Actually, on a personal note, yung family ko every summer normally, bukod sa, siyempre, we move around the country, talagang meron kami mga rituals on tourism sites and so on. And normally start also before the start of the year ng pasok ng mga kids, we really go out of the country after parang moving within our country. Parang ganyan, siyempre, huwag maging dayuhan sa sariling bayan, ika nga, di ba? So talagang meron kaming mga talagang regularly at saka ini-explore every so often in our country. But hindi rin nawawala yung paglabas ng bansa. Just to get it, siguro fortunate enough to, blessed enough to really see other cultures, other countries, and so on. Particularly in Europe, parang ganyan. Parang talagang tinatakbo na, iba-ibang way namin ginagawa in other countries. Parang 21 days, ganyan, talagang ikot-ikot yan before the So, ngayon, hindi nangyari yon. Siyempre, lahat, parang nagkasya ka na lang sa memories taon-taon na nakikita mo lang sa Facebook mo.
I-recycle na lahat ng memories sa Facebook.
Pag lumabas na, lagi ko nang nilalagay, parang saka na lang ang summer ulit. Hashtag. So anyway, yes, we all love to be we all love to be moving around the country. We all love to see the different culture within the country. In fact, ang dami-daming napakagandang sites sa Pilipinas. Ako, honestly, I'm a beach bum. Although hindi pang Derek Ramsey ang katawan ko, pero leading to that, parang pero ibig sabihin, I just love to be in the beach every so often. Parang ganyan. So, what are the things that can help us rebound with the tourism industry? If I may share, Jules, no, some of the things that I have in mind, how tourism can go back. I had so many friends in the tourism industry also, travel and tours, basta anything related to hospitality management. Una, if I may cite things that I have in mind, alam mo, I watched this in, maybe in Africa yata nangyari to. They do online tours. Online tours. Meaning to say, parang kung dati-rate, kunyari di ba yung sa safari, sa wild, parang yun, ang ginagawa ngayon there's a company right there na in South Africa that is doing online tours for those who wanted to still see yung mga kunyari giraffe, yung mga lion, yung mga nandyan sa tabi.
Yeah.
Yung dating sumasakay ka ng sasakyan, di ba,
Yep.
ikot ka.
Mahal yun.
Oo, now, di ba, mahal yon. Exactly. Now, siguro mas mura na. What? You can do virtual tours. Meaning to say, you book your virtual tours and get them into it. Parang ganyan. You know, meron akong mga real estate.
I like that.
Di ba? Parang online tours. Meron akong real estate parang agency that I have spoken just nitong lockdown din. Alam mo, I suggested naman mga online trippings. Yung online tripping, virtual trippings, ibig sabihin, ikaw lang ang pupunta na physically o kung meron kayong video shot of that property and so on, then ayusin lang siguro technically on video and so on. And that's what you want. That's now you can present to your prospective buyer. So, physically, pero iba pa rin yung pumunta ka. At least ngayon naman, medyo nag-GGCQ na. Baka you will be allowed. But then again, yung principle of how do you use virtual online to your advantage. And that's tourism industry, probably an online tours, online parang guiding, etc. can be done. That's one. Siyempre, mababa na lang ang presyo, but at least you're keeping your business afloat. Right.
And actually, pwedeng unli customers yun kung virtual na yung ino-offer mong products eh.
Oh, yeah.
Diba? Yeah. Hindi ka na limited sa mga capacity ng kotse, capacity ng buildings mo.
Correct.
Na yun, whoever in any remote place in the world, they can see your location.
If I may cite, we had, we attended, traditional pizza making in Florence.
Oh, nice.
Napakaganda ng Florence. Gusto ng mga kids ko yan. Now, yung nangyari ngayon, yung mismong inatinan namin, they're now coming up with online workshop similar that we have gone through, and how much? Hulaan natin kung magkano lang, 1,000 pesos. And you're getting an online baking workshop na talagang authentic Italian pizza. O nga lang, pugon. Alam mo yun? Pero for 1,000 pesos, tell me. So, ibig sabihin...
Original pa, galing Italy.
Hanapin mo lang yung harinang tamang katulad nun. Yun lang yung challenge dito sa atin.
Pero pwede naman, kaya.
Anong point doon? Getting virtual, even workshop, even yung dating literally na pinupuntahan mo, dinadayo mo pa, and now, right at your fingertips, ayan na. Ang tawag ko nga dito, everyone, it's about mobile commerce, m-commerce. Parang everything else at our fingertips, everything else at our cell phone and gadgets, mobile commerce. Just to give you an idea, Jules, and all our viewers, kasi every year, I normally come up with business insight. So every start of January, naglalabas ako ng business insight, which is normally covered by most major TV shows and radio station and print media. So I always, one of the things that I always tell people is about convenience concept, wherein, yun ang ini-espouse ko, yung m-commerce, yung mobile commerce, wherein parang everything else right at our doorstep. And it's now happening. Yung parang just in fingertips natin, meron ka na nitong service ito, meron ka ng product na to. So, what's the difference now between those virtual online versus physical? Yun nga lang, sa ngayon, nakikita natin with tourism industry, these are one idea na probably can help us get through with this. Not your usual thing, at least in adapting with the new normal, baka pwede. That's online tours. Another, Pwede ba yung book now, consume later? Ulitin ko lang, book now, consume later. Meaning to say, if everything, ngayon, di ba, unti-unti, bumabalik na ang flights. May more siya. Unti-unti, there's now Boracay. Anong ibig kong sabihin? You now get into your existing market or existing client wherein offer now a typical book now, consume later at a lower price. So, ano ibig sabihin? Meron ka ng benta. Lahi ka, tourism, yes, tinamaan. Wow, pwede naman ako mag-book na ngayon, probably by December, November, or even September, and yet, parang kahit ang bayad ko, 50% pa lang, 30%, may benta tayo. Book now, consume later. Now, if the situation doesn't befitting pa rin, move pa rin naman yung date. Pero at least, may pera ka na. Kahit pa paano, may benta ka. Kahit merong kang business to begin with. Book now, consume later. Look at the concept. You just need to be creative. Ano pa? Maybe a bundled promo team. Bundled
I was
promo.
gonna get into that. Bundle.
What can you bundle? For example, if you go to Siargao, we can bundle na pwedeng meron pang isang site at this point. Or pwede namang bundled of, kunyari, other services related to tourism, hotels, and so on. That's another bundle.
Lodging, tapos farm experience.
That's one.
Ganon.
May lodging, may farm experience ka, may beach experience ka pa. So, you can play around it. Ang daming pwede. You just need to remember the crisis turns to positivity. What? Creativity. Get them challenged for creativity. This is what you do. O baka pwede, three experience in one booking bundle promoting. Maybe, just maybe. Ito pa, naisip ko, alam mo kung ano? Yung bang payment na hulugan. So, ibig sabihin, kung dati when we book our flights, when we book, kunyari, a vacation and so on, di ba, outright, upfront, you pay.
One time.
Leading to this book now, consume later, leading to this promoting, bundle promoting, baka you can do terms wherein parang X number of gifts, 6 gifts, 3 gifts, etc. Yung bang, kunyari, ang worth, kunyari, 10,000 o 100,000, sige, bigyan mo ng terms yan. Kasi people now, di ba, the least thing that you can do is get into tourism. That's one. Why? Because ang priority natin, food. So for example, if your booking it costs about 50,000, make it easier for people to avail of that and then hulugan basis. Pahabaan mo yung payment terms. Sa halip na upfront siya na 50,000 na hindi lang yung mababayaran ngayon, baka pwedeng 5 bigay, 10,000 per month o 10,000 per 15 days and so on. So you have business pa rin. Kasi how do you pivot for tourism? Sarado ka eh. Travel tours, walang flight eh. Walang bus, wala lahat eh. So how do you pivot things? Ito, work from home ka, inisipan mo lang, ginawan mo ng paraan, baka pwede. Di ba? So, lastly, ito naisip ko lang din. Maybe discoveries of new sites within the area na nandyan lang sa paligid mo. For example,
parang accessible siya pero hindi siya prepared for tourism.
Exactly. So parang you can develop that. For example, a very good restaurant, kunyari, in certain area na meron pala silang ginagawang ganyan. These are the time to discover things, di ba?
Yeah.
Parang, and then...
Ito na yung bagong opportunity nga. Kunyari, may lote ka na hindi mo ginagamit, tapos yung pala may chance na this is a good area where you can really bring in customers.
Di ba? Kunyari, sabi mo nga, farm tourism, ecotourism. And then after that farm experience, you get to cook meal in a typical parang Filipino restaurant in that area and so on.
Plant-based? Wow!
Parang doon lang. Or parang tipong rural experience wherein parang typical Filipino nagkakamay ka. Yun ang gusto ng tao. Nandun ka sa...
And foreigners pay a lot of money for that too. That's what's so funny.
So, ibig sabihin, it's how we see things, brighter side. Sabi ko nga, parang maraming pwede. It's, kumbaga, different people know exactly their industries. They know exactly how the businesses run. They know exactly the profiling of their target market, etc. So how do you develop to your advantage these things at this point? So yun yung naman take with tourism. Isa yan sa industriya supposedly na hindi tinatamaan talaga eh. Kaya lang ito kasi merong human intervention and human transmission.
Oo. May virus concept kasi siya eh.
Pero kung hindi,
Oo.
ito yung industry na napakaganda.
Millennials really want now to be able to really have a fulfilling experience, something that's really geared towards their perception of what work life is like.
Remember?
Mas fulfilling.
The travel goals that you have, all the goals, the bucket list. So, the bucket list na B-U-C-K-E-T, not the bucket list na B-A-K-E. Yeah.
Tama.
Hitting your bucket list wherein, di ba, one of those is travel goals bukod sa love life goals mo, di ba? Parang ganyan.
Tama. Agree. Super agree.
The reason why yung mga joiners, yung mga, di ba, yung mga very reasonable na talagang tours and so on is really fledging. And sooner or later, it will come. So, yun nga isasabi ko. Kung ang joiner fee, for example, for an individual, you go to, kunyari lang, Tanay, magka-client kayo, kunyari in Rizal. That's kunyari 1.5 for an overnight. Make it parang payment mo, 2 hulog at 750 o 500. Tingnan mo, may booking ka na. Anytime na. Okay naman, alam naman ng tao na anytime na hindi pa pwede. Pero, ang doon, may benta ka na. You see?
Tama.
You see?
May slots ka na.
Oo, may slots ka na. Parang in a month, meron kang X number of people and then paid na sila, hinuhulugan nila na sooner, saka mo lang sila idadalhin.
And if you know how to manage that money right, then kumita ka na from that initial payment nila.
At least, di ba yung survival mo, kahit pa paano, ng empleyado ng tourism-related companies na yun, of venture, kahit pa paano, you're surviving.
Tama.
Those things. I hope that those type of parang mga what do you call this, tips or sabihin na natin floating ideas can be a big help to the industry that viewers that are listening right now would be seeing this.
Actually, Paulo, I do feel like it is a treasure trove of information. But I do have one last scenario for you if you'd like to humor me with it. So I want you to imagine me as someone who is just a budding entrepreneur. COVID is still here. It still exists. There's still the paranoia in the industry as well. But what would you tell someone who right now wants to listen to this show and at least get that small kickstart towards the direction na kailangan nilang puntahan? Ano yung nakikita mong parang or anong advice mabibigay mo sa mga people out there right now who are looking for that little bit of inspiration, and maybe based on your experience and your ability to really coach people, parang what advice can you give to someone who's struggling, who's finding new ways to adapt, and who's listening to us right now trying to make that pivot?
Well, for me kasi we all need to keep the positivity going. And it's really about our it's about our attitude and behavior towards the perspective that is happening around us. So ibig sabihin, we wanted to be with people who always think positively, but not with COVID. Don't be with people who have COVID. Pero siyempre, dapat ganun yun. We wanted to be with people who are negative with COVID. So ibig sabihin, positivity should run with us more than ever at this point. Why? Away from negatrons and negastars, meaning to say, parang di ba within our peers, kung minsan parang sila pa yung, sorry to say, di ba minsan yung crab mentality ng Pinoy.
Sila yung they pull you down.
Yung parang pababa sa halip na pataas. So ibig sabihin, if you see, for example, people who have that halo, yung bang halo in our head, be with them. Diba? Parang ito yung mga beshies na dapat mong samahan. But if you see people na talagang, alam niyo yun, parang may sungay, unang-una layuan na natin yan. So ano ibig sabihin? There will come a time we will weather the storm. Diba? We will weather the storm. And the best way to do it is to paddle our way getting into it. You know, sabi nga, it's a stream. It's not even luck. It's not even things that we need to we see that will happen for so long. What will keep us going is to get that positivity and attitude in our mind. Why? There's only one thing that we can control. We cannot control the virus. We cannot control people who are negative. We cannot control the negastars and negatrons in our life. But one thing that we can control is the thought that is running through our mind. Meaning to say, if you think that you can control all these things, then do it. Why? The only way that it can help us is to find our way into that. Kasi ang tanong dito, like in the grandstand, for example, will you be the one na typical who's sitting down doon sa grandstand as a spectator, di ba? Or a player who have trained your thoughts, who have been training, and who will be playing to win the game of this life. It's about choices eh. Parang, paano gagawin mo? Di ba? Will you be the spectator who will just sit down there and just watch the game unfolds? Or will you be the one, na player, who will play the game and win the game of life for you? So, what does it take? Di ba? Parang train yourself, train yung thoughts mo, keep it running, control. Di ba sabi natin, the only thing that you can control is about the thoughts that's running in your mind. And basically, keep that positivity going. Soon as everything will fall into places, and soon as we hope to see champions in ourselves. I always believe, Jules, that there's champion in us. Eh. It's how we just need to, minsan kailangan lang nating palabasin siya. And people who are champions sa gantong panahon, lumalabas. Mind you, every one of those things. Spectator or player. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Paolo. I don't know where to start with all the things that I've learned from this talk. But one thing's for sure, I just want to tell you that I'm super appreciative that you really gave us this time that you have today. Because yun nga, para kung nagka-crash course in Entrepreneur Survival 101.
And the game of life. In the game of life.
And the game of life. As in work, as it is in life. It works the same.
I always believe that there's a champion in all of us. Eh? This is the spirit of being a champion. And I hope that now it's a time to realize. But there's a lot of realization, personal and professional. Now, given with that realization, how can you produce and be productive and make sure that you have result that will be beneficial to all of us? Diba? Parang, diba? Parang there are approaches to do it. First, you have to renew. Parang, i-renew mo yung sarili mo. Parang, nakita mo na eh, what's happening and what can happen. And then, i-rekindle mo, rediscover to in loving in what you do. And then, basically, parang, realize things that have not well in this situation. Now, how do you move forward with that realization? By doing so, di ba sabi ko nga, play the game of life. And the game of life is about what? Making you or being a spectator or just a spectator or a player who will win the game of life. That's it. And be a champion, syempre.
So, Paolo, I feel like after this conversation, there's so many questions even more that have come up in my mind na parang gusto kong ituloy. I wanna keep this conversation going for so long, but I know that our time is limited as well. So for all our listeners out there also who want to be able to find you online and be able to get or to share these nuggets of wisdom that you're sharing, how can our audience find you online?
Eto yun, everyone, Paulo me on Facebook. O yan, di ba? Paulo me kasi Paulo, di ba? So, I have a lot of followers on social media. So, I have... Kaya nga yun ang tawag kasi like mga followers eh. Followers talaga. There's a story behind that from one of my engagement. Anyway, I'm into LinkedIn. I'm into Facebook. And I'm into... soon. Because of all these things, I'll be coming up with my channel already. And
Nice.
there's going to be an online show na siguro 3-4 na taon nang in the pipeline and mukhang mangyayari. Ito yung mga good side na nangyayari. And I would like to invite everyone to also join a Workplace Excellence PH. Ulitin ko lang, a Workplace Excellence PH. Jules, you have to be there. And the rest of the team, you have to be there. You know why? It's a community that I developed. It's a professionals community wherein we wanted to learn from one another. We wanted to share things that can help corporate executives, business leaders, freelancers for you. We just parang started it with siguro mga ilang linggo pa lamang, and we're quite hitting it good. Kumbaga, parang a different parang take on so many aspects of our professional life, from HR related to sales related to marketing related to business and so on. You get all the stuff with that. And then the video content that we're going to do a lot of those things, also those stuff. So Workplace Excellence PH. Then grab my book. It's in National Bookstore pa rin. Yung bestseller book, how to Train a Dragon, tuloy sasa. Nalimutan ko na.
Wow, bestseller.
Strategies of a Champion Entrepreneur. It's a best-selling book for aspiring and existing negosyo. What I've mentioned about the C2C principle, it is there. So you can see and how it applies to the principle. So many principles, play of words of those things in that book. And then the newly released standout, How to Lead Without Losing Your Values. It's a very good ethical book wherein I tell people, lalo na sa millennials, nako, eto, saktong-sakto kasi time for millennials, Diyos, this is for us. Siyempre, millennial pa rin na.
Okay, game.
Konti na edad kong mas mataas sa'yo ng konti. So, it's standout. It's a national bookstore pa rin.
Sorry, How to Lead Without Losing Your Ethics.
Values. Yeah.
Values.
How to Lead Without Losing Your Values.
Values.
Online, it's distributed by Kerigma Books of Bo Sanchez, and you can find it online also. How to Lead Without Losing Your Values. Standout. It's a title. And then catch me in many, just follow me in Facebook, Instagram. Ito, ni-revive ko na rin yung Twitter. Diyos ko, lahat na lang yata ng social media. Please do attend. I have a lot of public seminars, webinars sa ngayon. And if you wanted me to be with your team, with your organization, with your company, do let us know, message us, and we'll probably collaborate on helping also your team, get them motivated, get them trained, and get them to where we wanted them to be playing as a champions also. Maraming salamat, Jules and team.
I love it, Paulo. Such a pleasure.
I'm so happy being here with Loop Me In, and I hope that we can have shared more than things that we can help our viewers sa ngayon. Maraming salamat. Appreciate it, everyone.
Maraming salamat, Paulo. I mean, your advice is so invaluable, and I feel like it's so apt and timely nga naman for our audience as well. Everyone's kind of on their toes, everyone's adapting. So this is the type of wavelength of information that we do need to hear. So that ends our episode here in Loop Me In. Please do check some of our episodes uploaded on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. Loop Me In is also available on Facebook and YouTube. So guys, please also follow our social media accounts. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter as well. This has been Julian Rodriguez, and this is Loop Me In.